Think about this. The man you spent your whole life with, the one who knows all of your strange habits, your laughter, and your darkest worries is suddenly still in a hospital bed. A web of tools and wires wraps around him. The strong heart that used to feel unbeatable is now weak. There is a steady beep from monitors instead of the laughing that used to fill your home. Kelly Ripa felt like she wasn't in a TV show or a daytime soap story. When her beloved husband Mark Consuelos was taken to the intensive care unit ICU, her world turned upside down. She was facing a fight that no one saw coming. Kelly's voice has always made us happy in the morning, but in her recent honest memories, she talked about how scared she was when Mark was rushed to the hospital. While following the gurney taking her husband to intensive care, she remembered the blur of sirens, the cold white halls, and the frantic prayers she said under her breath. She admitted, "I couldn't process what was going on. We were making plans for dinner one minute, and I was scared I would lose him the next." Fans were shocked by what happened next. Even though it was hard for Mark to talk in the ICU at first, he asked to see their children. It wasn't just a simple ask. In a moment of pure weakness, a father spoke out his deepest wish. He wanted it to come straight from him to his kids. Not about his sickness or the pain, but about love. Before he lost the chance, he wanted to make sure everyone knew what was important. Kelly's heart broke when she heard that one request whispered between breaths. It was like a picture could never show. This is where the story changes. Why? Because Mark's wish was simple, but making it come true was very hard. Their kids were spread out, some with jobs and some in school, living the independent lives their parents were proud of them for having. Kelly had mixed feelings. Should she protect them from the immediate terror of their father's illness, or should she respect his wish and make them face a truth that none of them were ready for? She picked love, and that choice changed everything for the whole family. The meeting was nothing short of moving when the kids got there. Kelly talked about how Mark kept himself together with the determination of a man who was determined to be the father his kids needed. He talked to each of his kids separately and said things that will always be in their hearts. He talked to his oldest about being brave and responsible. He talked to his middle child about being strong and understanding. He told his smallest child in a whisper about happiness and how laughter can make you strong. But this is where the mental weight gets heavier. Kelly said that as she listened to her husband talk, she knew he was getting his family ready for more than just getting better. He might even be getting ready for the end of their lives. In his eyes, she could see that mix of love and sadness that only shows up when someone is on the edge of life and knows how fragile it is. Kelly was going through hell. It seems like your partner is okay with letting go. How can you keep your hope alive? This is the part of the story that made people cry all over the country. While the kids were outside, Mark asked Kelly in a quiet voice to make sure they never doubted how much he loved them. He told her, "Promise me you'll keep telling them for me if I can't say them tomorrow." That prayer, that last wish, was what broke Kelly's heart. But it was also what made her determined to stay by his side and not give up when things looked hopeless. The question was still there. Was this the last time they talked as a family? Would those words be what people remember him for? Kelly admitted that she couldn't sleep at night in the ICU waiting room because of that worry. She held on to religion, memories of when they were younger, and the thought of all the important events they still had to share. And a thought came to her during those long, quiet nights. At some point, every family has to deal with times like these. Perhaps not in a hospital. Perhaps not in the bright light of the ICU. Love and fear sometimes fight. The future seems unknown, and the things we say are the most important things in those times. Kelly's message to her followers since then came from that knowledge. Do not wait. Say, "I love you," right away. Don't wait too long to forgive. Don't wait to laugh, remember, or hug someone. Because love is the only thing that matters when we're in the ICU. Most of the time, we know when time is running out. Still, Kelly's story doesn't end in sadness. Because, as usual for Consuelo, Mark's fighting spirit started to show. Doctors started to report small wins over time. He was able to breathe better. His face got its color back. The light of his smile came back on. Every little change felt like a gift. Every little change felt like a good luck to Kelly and her family. There weren't any big steps forward in the recovery process. Instead, there were small wins along the way that marked the slow path back to life. The first time was when Mark could breathe without the machine's steady hissing, which had been his lifeline. Kelly said she held his hand and watched his chest rise and fall with a strength that was all his own. Tears ran down her face as she spoke. It was the most lovely sound she had ever heard, more valuable than shouts of praise or studio laughing. Soon after, another miracle showed up, his voice. What started out as a rough whisper, a weak echo of the lively man she knew, slowly got stronger and warmer. When the kids came over, they would fill the clean room with stories about their lives, like school, projects, work schedules, and funny stories about friends. And for the first time in what seemed like forever, Mark could do more than just nod or squeeze hands. He could ask a question, give some fatherly advice, or even laugh very weakly. Kelly said it was that laugh that made her really start to think he was coming back to them. The beeps of the machines were finally drowned out by the sound of hope. The fight was very hard on the body. Mark was very angry some days because he used to be strong and in charge, but now he had trouble with even the smallest things. It was like climbing a mountain to learn how to sit up and then stand up. The first time he walked down a short stretch of the hospital hallway, he was strongly supported by a physical therapist and a walker. His whole family lined the walls and cheered him on like he was finishing a marathon. Kelly thought it showed how strong he was by seeing him put one foot in front of the other. In his determined eyes, she saw the same man who had built a life and a family with her. He was a fighter who wouldn't let his weakness define him. Then she understood that his word to the kids about being brave, strong, and happy wasn't a goodbye, but a promise. It was the code he was following at that very moment. The day he was finally let go was a blur of feelings. Leaving the ICU, which had been the source of their worst worries, was like coming out of a long, dark tunnel. Kelly remembered how the sun fell on Mark's face as she wheeled him out of the hospital. It was a simple warmth that felt like a deep gift. It was quiet on the way home, and everyone felt thankful without saying a word. It looked like the colors and world outside were brighter. Every normal thing, like the trees along the street and the usual turn into their driveway, was now special. Going home wasn't the end of the battle. It was the start of a new one. The house, which was just a place to live, became a safe place for them. As the healing process went on, there were weeks of rest, exercise, and a slow return to normalcy. But things were different now. They were very different after what they went through. The fast-paced public lives of these people seemed less important all of a sudden. The quiet times were what mattered. Having coffee on the porch in the morning, watching a movie on the couch, or just being in the same room and being happy to be with each other. This big change in view is what finally made Kelly want to tell their story. It was no longer a domestic tragedy. She felt obligated to teach others this important lesson. She said that everything is planned and scripted on TV, but the most important times in real life happen out of the blue and aren't planned. After going through what they did, the fame and glamour were gone, leaving them with the simple truth that family and love are the only things that can keep you steady in a storm. In a heartbreaking moment that has left fans reeling, Kelly Ripa and her husband, Mark Consuelos, have shared a deeply emotional experience. Mark's final wish, made under the most unexpected and difficult circumstances, has shattered Kelly's heart, bringing a mixture of grief, love, and reflection. The news emerged while Mark was in the ICU, a time of intense vulnerability. Amid his health battle, Mark expressed his final wish for their children. His request, filled with love and concern for his family's future, caught Kelly by surprise and left her emotionally overwhelmed. Mark, known for his love for his family and his strong, supportive role in Kelly's life, has always been the rock of their household, so his vulnerability in this moment touched Kelly deeply. In a tearful revelation, Kelly shared with fans how Mark's wish weighed heavily on her heart. His words were not just a final plea, but a profound reminder of the preciousness of family, time, and the impact parents have on their children's lives. Kelly, fighting back tears, reflected on the love they shared and how this wish made her realize how much she cherishes every moment with him and their children. The news has sparked an outpouring of support from fans and fellow celebrities, all sending messages of strength to the couple. As they navigate this challenging moment, Kelly and Mark's vulnerability has opened a window into their deeply personal journey, showing the world the power of love and the deep bonds that hold families together, even in the most heartbreaking of times.